Thank you so much for agreeing to my second interview. I have the lovely Miss Izabela Hamilton of Rankbell. How are you today?
I am doing so wonderful. All because I get to see you, Vince. Anytime I
Wow.
get to see you, it's a good day, baby. And you know what I noticed? I don't know if you noticed, but see how I kind of have like blue in the background and your shirt is kind of blue, and then
Yeah,
my shirt is white and your background
my
is kind of
background's
white.
white.
So, I'm just saying.
We complement each other
Exactly.
like peanut butter and jelly.
Yum. I haven't had one of those in a long time. You know what? That sounds yummy for later today.
It does. It does. So for those of you who are new to this YouTube channel, for Trivium, what we try to do is bring you guests that provide a little bit more value in experience from being in the Amazon space. My first interview I did was with a kind of a newer seller, and he gave a lot of good talking points on ecom in general, how he got into it. So this interview is going to be a little bit the same. We're going to learn about Izabela, a little bit about her background. And then we're just going to ask some questions and we're going to vibe, and we're going to hopefully you guys will glean some insights into what you can maybe use and apply for some of your Amazon business. If not, you'll definitely at least be entertained in today's session. So why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a background on you for those of you who do not know who you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Vince. That's so nice. I love when you said, at least you're going to be entertained. I love that because I don't know. I always like to have a good time, and you have to bring your energy and bring your whole self to anything, whether
Absolutely.
it's an interview, whether, you're shopping, whether you go out. Like, I always like to bring my whole self. So definitely you guys are going to be entertained. And congratulations, by the way, on your channel. I love it. I love that you are offering so much knowledge and everything that you've learned and captured over the years, for you
Yeah.
to just offer it so easily to your audience. I think that's beautiful, and I
Yeah.
commend you on that.
Thank you. It was a goal definitely after leaving Helium 10, obviously, to
Yeah.
keep producing content and educating people as much as I can. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And we all love you and we want to see you. So I'm so happy that you're doing this now. And anytime you ask me to come on, I will be here.
Perfect.
So thank you for that. My name is Izabela Hamilton. I have been in the e-com space since about 2014, 2015. The lines are kind of blurred at that time. And it's been a just really good and sometimes hard, sometimes easy journey, but just being in this industry for so long has taught me so much, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying the space. I'm enjoying this community that we all created, that we're all part of, and who knows how many more years that will be, but right
Mhm.
now I'm happy. I'm super
Yeah,
happy. Yeah.
good. That's great. So tell us a little bit about how you got into this Amazon space.
Yeah, you know what? And when people ask me like, "Oh, how did you find Amazon?" I always like to think that Amazon found me instead of
Mhm.
me finding Amazon. And the more
Same.
I talk to
Yeah.
people, the more that comes true. It's almost like it's this beast that's huge, but yet it's like it requires a certain kind of animal, a certain kind of person. And here I was ready for the challenge. But I think for me, I was in a time of my life when I really wanted to do something that not only benefits me, but what is out there that I can do that can leave a little imprint onto somebody else's life. And this
Mhm.
has to do a lot with my personality and being a huge empath, and
Mm.
also looking on the financial side. I'm not gonna lie, I mean, obviously Amazon is a beast, and I knew if I were able to get a little bit of that, I would just be just fine.
Yeah,
So
well,
there was a combination of all of that, like wanting to help people, seeing Amazon as this like really amazing company, and which it still is. One thing I really loved about them, they were always very customer focused, which I
mhm.
thought was very unique in comparison to other companies. And I'll tell you a
Mhm.
little bit about how I came to that understanding. Many years ago, before I started Rankbell, I was working as a diplomat in both Africa and Asia.
That's right. Mhm.
And being there, what I noticed is that anytime I wanted to place any kind of order of any type of product online, they wouldn't ship it. And I'm not saying ship it to like some random address in Rwanda, but it was like a PO box that was specifically for the embassy. And still the answer was no. The only
Mm.
one that did it was Amazon. So that kind of captured my attention. I'm like, Why is it that this company is the only one that's willing to go the distance? Because I'm sure it was not easy, and I'm sure it was way more costly for them. So that kind of triggered my interest a little bit, to say the least.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So for those that don't understand what ranking is, or some of the changes that happened maybe last year within Amazon, like how are you defining the ranking now, and how you can help people with that specifically?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the question. And I think to answer that, because I don't know, how advanced the audience is, I would have to give a little bit of a background of what
Mhm.
ranking is. So
Right.
when it comes to ranking products on Amazon, it's really the simple concept of, typing in a certain keyword, let's say trying to buy a notepad today and typing in black notepad, it
Mhm.
will pull up the searches that Amazon wants me to see,
Right.
along with the ones that are from sponsored ads. So
Right.
you usually see the two placements, the sponsored ad, real estate, and the organic placement,
Right.
real estate, right? Notepad sponsored ad, organic sponsored ad. So when it comes to ranking, it's always about which of the products is associated with that specific keyword. And that's, I mean, I'm sure you have a way better explanation than me. I still think it's last year, but it's like almost 2 years now that Amazon updated their terms of service,
Right.
which put an end to what we used to know, and it was called search, find, buy strategy. And
Right.
this strategy, many sellers relied on this specific one to rank their product. So
Mhm.
in light of this change, at that time, we decided to work on alternative way to help our sellers, still help them, rank the products, but make it in a way that they're not going to get into trouble. So what we changed was the method that we had these shoppers actually test the product. So we invited the shoppers to actually do a very thorough assessment of both the product from before they order it. So they go into the listing, they check for any kind of, misplaced words. They're looking at the images. They're looking at the difference between your product, this notepad, and a competitor's notepad.
Mm.
This is even before they actually test the product. So this is an actual really testing of the products, which I don't know any other company that does this, because it's
Yeah.
very detailed, and it's very tedious, and it takes a lot. So
Yeah.
the shopper will go to your listing, they go through all this assessment, and then they order the product, then they get the product home, and then they go through this other basically audit that they look at the notepad. Oh, I like this, I don't like this, I would prefer to see this instead of this. So they go through all of this, and they really give us a genuine feedback, and
Mhm.
in my opinion, very valuable insight. So it gives the seller the full perspective of what their product is, because a
Sure.
lot of us don't have this chance. So we were
Mhm.
talking before getting on this call about sourcing products from China.
Yeah.
It's, you can order a product from China, it comes to your house, you can even order a bunch of samples, but you don't actually know when you place your 10,000 unit order how that product is actually going to be. So,
Yeah.
even before doing that, if you're able to go through this assessment of the product, then you'll know exactly how to create
Mhm.
it for your specific audience. So
Mhm.
if you know that the majority of people, they really love like the black notepad and not so much the orange
Orange
one,
one.
then you will know, you can predict in advance of, maybe how many units will be sold, or if not that specifically, you will know that the majority will order this. So this way you're saving money before even starting. I have clients that have used many sourcing, manufacturing in China, and
Mhm.
even creating that relationship for 5 years, 10 years, they can still get the product wrong, because you're
Yeah.
thinking in your head, everything is good, I have this perfect relationship with my
Mm.
manufacturer, they will never screw me over.
Mhm.
Maybe they didn't want to screw you over, they just did a little bit on the
Right.
next 1,000 units. So
Right.
how crucial would that be for you to have this check every single time? So
Mhm.
once we get this assessment through the shopper, this also helps the product rank, because the ranking algorithm still works to your advantage, because now
Yeah.
you still have the consumer go through the steps of like looking at your product, looking at other
Sure.
products. So it's like an added bonus of getting
Mm.
the full audit. You get the
Sure.
added bonus of getting better visibility.
Yeah. So it sounds like what you do is really good for people that are brand new, that are just looking to maybe launch their first product or launch a new version of their existing product. What about a company that's been selling on Amazon for a little while,
Yeah.
and it's just they're not moving the needle?
Thank you. Thank
for
you for
whatever reason.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So Rankbell actually has two services, and you would think the one that I mentioned it would be the most popular one, but it's not. The most popular one is the product analysis, where people that are already selling on Amazon, maybe they need a little help. Maybe they notice their sales going down. Maybe they're starting to get bad reviews. Again, the seller doesn't know that the product is defective. They got a
Sure.
sample maybe 2 years ago, but not since. So in that moment, you want to, again, reevaluate your product. Find your shopper avatar, who is your audience, then actually have them, again, order your product, go through that. And that may take, 50 people, it might take 100 people, it may take an audience of 500, depending on what your product is and what is it that you're trying to achieve. So you go through that process. This way, it allows you to optimize your product, your actual product, not only the listing. I'm talking about optimizing your product fully. And again, by doing these actions on Amazon, the product also ranks. So we have a lot of people that come to us that have been selling for a long time, but maybe again something's wrong with the product. They fell on second page or 8th page. They come to us, we do an audit, we find out what the issue is, we get to help them. So it's definitely good for people who are just brand new, but also for sellers that already have running products. And also another thing that a lot of sellers use this for is, let's say you have a brand, you're selling notepads, but now you're just kind of out of ideas. You don't know what other products to bring. Then what we do, we let your audience tell you exactly what products they want you to sell. And this really gives the shoppers almost like a friendly extension, like, here I am, I need your help. And this creates this connection between the shopper and the brand that's almost irreplaceable, because now you're involving them into the creation process of your product. And who doesn't love being needed, honestly, Vince? True. And I noticed that a lot. People love to help if people just want to ask. So, you have a brand, you have 8 products, you don't know what your 9th one will be. Use your shopper avatar, ask them what the product will be, and then see what happens then.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. That's so cool. I didn't know you did separated them into 2 services. So I just learned something new today, which is great. Now, since you've kind of been in the world of ranking since you started, really, are there any simple tips that you can give people on how to avoid messing up their ranking?
I mean, I think a common mistake that I see sellers make is they focus too heavily on like short-term tactics and ignoring the long-term strategies for real growth, right? Some of the things that we see, and I'm sure you've seen, I mean, oh my God, working with Helium and all this experience, but like a lot of people still use like the keyword stuffing, where they're overloading their titles, descriptions. Some are still trying to manipulate reviews. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people message me like, hey, because obviously I have a huge audience of thousands and thousands of people throughout the US. And they're like, what if I pay you like $500 for a review? Would you do it? And, it's like, they just want to get there fast. And I get it. And I understand their pain. But what I always tell them, and I've always told them, is like, if you just follow these few steps in the beginning and you maintain it, you will be able to eventually reach to that point. But of course, there's so many other factors, like, is your product good enough? I mean, are people searching for it? I mean, you have to go through a list of these things, elements, before even getting to the point of like, I want to create a 7-figure brand, which we all do. But I think, if you're listening to this and you're just starting out, like, try to ignore the noise and look at it from a shopper perspective. Like, what do I want to see in a product? Because I think we're forgetting that. I mean, Amazon is it's so easy for us to order products on Amazon. I do it every day. Literally every day I get packages. I don't even know what I'm ordering. I'm like, oh, I need this, let me order. So it's such a fast thing. But then you get
keep
the
us
product,
in business.
and the product is like, oh, this wasn't very good, but I'm not going to send it back because it was maybe $10, $20. Like, it's not worth my time. However, would I love to see an amazing product when I order it? Absolutely. So can we all come back to like creating a really good product that we don't have to rely on tactics and gimmicks and, join this Zoom call to give you the latest, best, newest tactic out there of like,
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
a lot of
we don't do that. Another thing, which I actually want to hear your opinion on this, is relying solely on PPC advertising, because what I notice is like PPC gives you like that instant, like almost instant, immediate, visibility and traffic. Like, I've seen clients that, they come to us and they're like, we need help. And, their keyword is like zero index, like it's not showing up anywhere. Then, we have you guys, like do a PPC campaign, boom, 3-4 days is there. So
Right.
that's amazing. But if you just rely on that and you don't actually invest in, like, doing some organic ranking strategies, and not necessarily, I mean, obviously use Rankbell because it's the best. But if you don't use Rankbell, I mean, there's so many things that you can do. Like, first, is your listing optimized? Like, do you have a strong brand presence? If people type in your brand on Instagram, can they see it? Can they find it? And it's not even about like, oh my God, you have to have 20,000 followers on Instagram. Like, people now, I think they go from like Amazon, if they really want a product, to Instagram to see if you're there, if you're somebody.
That could be. That would be an interesting stat to check. It used to be Google to Amazon.
Yeah, it was the other way around. I agree, but I feel like, you know how I noticed this? Like, I find myself doing that sometimes. But if it's like a product that like really, really interests me, like, or somebody that I want to work with or something, do they have a presence? Because what that tells me is, like, one, they care about their customers. Look how many thousands and thousands and thousands of brands of a notepad they are, but are you doing something for your audience? Do you actually care to keep in contact? Is it easy for me to reach out? If I got a notepad and like all the pages are gone, how easy is it for me to reach out? I don't want to call Amazon. I don't want to like go through all that. Like, no, I want to talk to you. I want to send you a message on Instagram and say, hey, your pages are missing. And I want somebody to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Thank you for telling us. Boom. You know what I mean? So we're looking at these things, but that's what I'm saying. So do you have a lot of, we're switching like roles now. Do you have a lot of customers that come to you that only do PPC? And how is that working out for you?
It's interesting. So number one, I think that's a great tip and probably something I will look into with my own clients. Like, do you have an Instagram account? Like, if you're a brand, how hard is it to have an Instagram account? It's a great,
you can do it yourself. And none of us, me and you, are not selling Instagram services, by the way.
No. But what a simple way to just kind of showcase that you actually do care about your brand and you care about your particular audience. And that is a real easy way for them to get a hold of you if there's any issues, or maybe they have insights or feedback. So number one, I love that tip, and I will be checking with my clients on that one in particular. What I see is a mix. I have seen a lot of sellers that just focus on PPC at the beginning. I think once they become a more mature seller, then they realize they need to have a website. They should be on Instagram. They should probably be doing Google ads to at least their website, but you can also do them directly to Amazon now. So honestly, I've seen the full spectrum, but I really feel like those that understand the power of external marketing are the ones that are, going to get more elevated sales. And to be honest, doing all those things really only improves the effectiveness of PPC. So like, as you were talking earlier, I was thinking about how a simple tactic or tip that I give is just check your closest competitor, either at launch or regularly, but know who your competitors are, and then just look at their listing. Like, put a note on your calendar, like every month, check your competitors' listings. If you start to feel like their listing looks better than yours, guess what? You have some work to do. So that's my thing is, if your product detail page, I keep saying listing, if your PDP does not look as good or better than your closest competitor, then you are going to lose sales. And even from PPC, because PPC, and I say this a lot, and kind of to your point, PPC is just the road, right? It's just really the path to get people to your product detail page. If that thing isn't optimized, if it doesn't look the best that it can be, A+ content, some videos, showing people, hey, this is how you use the product. You can see yourself now using this product. If it doesn't do an effective job of that, then no amount of PPC, right, is going to be effective on that. So I like, to your point, like, how cool would it be to have like an analysis from an outside, from your company, from your people that you work with, is to say, we did this homework for you. Here's all the things we like about your listing. Here's things we don't like. And if you make these changes, your organic sales are going to increase, but your PPC sales are definitely going to increase as well. So although I have seen some people that only use PPC as a tactic, I would have to say that I lean more towards a holistic approach, in starting and including from an optimized listing and re-optimizing that listing, right? Maybe using services like yours, or manually checking your listing, like I said, against competitors at least once a month, or having somebody do that maybe on your team. I don't know, but it's a holistic thing, because at the end of the day, you can't put lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig, right? So
A very cute pig, but
it's a cute pig, but it's still a pig, which means, you're for PPC's, sake, you're just wasting money at that point, right?
yeah.
Because and I have had that happen where, clients have come to me, and this is before I kind of really learned this, and I would do my job of making the PPC do the best that it can do, but it wasn't converting. So of course they had super high ACoS because their CTR was, or their conversion rate was low. And then they're looking at me and they're like, "Oh, your PPC isn't working." And I'm like, "Wait a second." And then I have to dive deep into it. And then I realized, no, it's this listing. It's not optimized. It has bad images, blurry images,
And
But
that's okay, because not everybody knows right from the start. Just like you said, people
right.
come and they get to learn, but it's the simple things that we can adjust. And like you said, make a reminder to come back to it, because we think, oh, I read that. Oh, I know that. But do you actually apply what you've learned? Yeah, you
Mhm.
know that you should be checking competitors. I wish this was
Sure.
live right now on YouTube so we can get people to be like, yes, I track it, or no. I would assume most people would say no, because
No.
it's not something that you think. It doesn't, like in our human's brain, we try to make sense of everything. Like,
Mhm.
how big of a difference would this really make? It's like,
Sure.
I don't need to do it, but maybe you can enlist one of your VAs to do it, or
Yeah, exactly.
however makes it easier for you. Like, we all work differently, and
Sure.
for me, I would have to put alarms for everything. But
Me too.
that's such a good point. And thank you for answering that. And going off of that, and I don't know if you're going to ask me this, like when you actually combine like organic ranking strategies with PPC, that,
Mhm.
to me, that's the best, because you
Absolutely.
create this like synergistic effect that can only lead to like higher visibility,
Yeah.
traffic, and sales. This is the best. Like, anytime somebody comes to us, we say, do you have a PPC strategy in the works? And if you don't, like, we definitely recommend you do that, and let's see how we can do this together.
Yeah.
Your higher click-through rates, definitely, because when you're like we mentioned a few minutes ago, when your product appears in both like organic and sponsored ads, it's like it gives this almost like familiarity and like relationship to like the buyer. They're like, oh, they're here and they're here and they're here. It's like, because
Exactly.
not everybody's an Amazon expert. They don't know that it's all your efforts that brought you to that. They're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, Amazon must think this is the product I need to buy. So, maybe for more sophisticated people, maybe they'll like question it, but come
Right.
on, I'm not going to question anything when I need to buy my kid like a $10, like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting you bring up that point. Like, I don't understand, unless you're super budget conscious and you need to be saving money, like the sellers that are like, I don't want to be organically ranked #1 and sponsored. I'm like, why wouldn't you? Like, me personally, when I'm shopping, if I see they're in the top, because I know what a sponsored ad is, obviously, but if I see they're ranked high and I see they're ranked high organically, I'm like, I will probably buy that product because I feel like they've done their homework. They know how to do that. They've effectively ranked high organically and for PPC. And I respect that. And it's more visibility. And so, if you don't know it's a sponsored ad, advertising is all about just repetition and visibility. And how many times you see an ad, more it's going to increase your chances for a sale, right?
Exactly.
So, or people to remember it, and they
I
might
was
come back
about
the
to say,
next time.
I had it in my mind. I'm like, people remember. You don't think
They
they do,
remember.
but then they do. They're like, they will
Yeah.
just do it. They will just order your product.
And which is why we see, and I've seen time and time again, the branded keyword campaigns eventually start increasing sales. Well, why is that? Like, if you're not running commercials and if you're only on Amazon, for example, why is your branded keyword campaign suddenly making a lot of money? Well,
Yeah.
it's because all the advertising that you did before that
Yes.
to get
Yes.
your product in their mind, and now they're just going into Amazon, they're clicking your brand name, and you better show up, because so
Exactly.
definitely, I'm a big proponent of PPC even for your branded keywords, because somebody else will be bidding upon you if you don't. But like, people don't understand, it's like, well, that happened because the
Yeah.
amount of times that they saw it beforehand. Amazon has a 2-week pixel for 2 of their main campaigns. Why? Because they know it can take it. People take up to 2 weeks to make a purchasing decision sometimes. Not me, probably
No.
not you.
Yeah, no,
I
definitely not.
see it, I'm like, okay, I know what I want right away.
Like with my eyes closed. Order.
Yes. But the average life, what's it called? The consideration cycle, it has to
Yeah.
be 2 weeks, or else
Yeah.
Amazon wouldn't have a 2-week pixel,
Yeah.
right?
For those listening, we support shopping on Amazon.
We do.
Okay. We
Yes.
really support it, and we go all out.
Well, I mean, that's how we stay in business, right?
That's right. That's right. But it's so easy. You know what I started liking off topic. So one thing, Vince, that I've been doing lately that almost embarrassed to say that I didn't really use before is Instacart. Every time I go visit Mina, him and Brandy, they use Instacart probably even more than Amazon. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
the debate we have to get him on and talk about. But it's so easy to do it. And it's almost like I feel bad in a way because I'm like, well, if I buy all my stuff from Amazon and
Mm.
now I Instacart my groceries, like when are we ever going to leave the house? Which should make those listening they like really think ahead, like where the shopping is going
It's
in
happening.
the future. So yeah, I mean Instacart, woo.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring up an interesting, channel. Like Instacart's another one that more and more people are adopting. Even though you can order groceries on, I think Amazon Fresh. I haven't done that either. When I lived in LA and traffic's terrible in LA, I did use Instacart, and it was a lifesaver. So I'm shocked you hadn't heard of it yet,
You
considering
see,
how
I mean,
busy
maybe,
you
maybe
are.
it's an LA thing.
Maybe. Well, I think it started in like the major cities first, like
Yeah.
San Francisco, New York, LA. It was a few years ago. It's probably when they first came out, and I was like, oh, godsend, because LA traffic is
Yes.
absolutely terrible. But no, other channels are definitely becoming important. And for me personally, like trying to figure out, okay, I'm an Amazon PPC specialist, but I'm also learning about Walmart. It's like maybe I should need to learn about Instacart, because I'm sure Instacart has a nice advertising potential for people that fit in the grocery category. I don't know. I just find it fascinating. Speaking of other channels, do you work with sellers on any of their other improvements? Like, do you help them with their websites? Like, tell us a little bit more about
I do a lot actually, and I don't ever get to talk about it because usually when I'm invited to speak, anywhere, it's usually for Amazon purposes. But we've done Chewy, we've done Etsy,
Oh,
we've
nice.
done, I mean, obviously Walmart. We've done quite a few actually, and it's really, really good, even for some Shopify stores, because a lot of sellers that are starting to kind of wake up in a way, and maybe that's not that nice to say, but they are waking up to the fact that they have to care what the shopper actually wants, whereas we didn't really see that in the past. But I'm seeing a little bit of the skills are tipping a little bit, and actually brands are really interested in what the shopper wants. So I have a lot of clients that they actually want the shopper to go through the process through on their website, almost like a secret shopper, but through their website, actually get the product. Was the product, how did you actually like it? Did you enjoy it? What about this specific product makes you want to buy it more? And if you don't, tell me the raw, honest truth. And this service is so great. And I love about it is because it removes almost that uncomfortable feeling of like telling the brand directly. So like, I am the third party, right? I am the agent. So like they're ordering the notepad off the website, the shopper buys it, but they tell me everything they hate about it, right? So I take this information and I offer it to the brand, and a lot of them, they get really hurt. I mean, these brands are people's babies, and I understand this, but sometimes you really got to look at the ugly things and be like, how can I make this so it's no longer ugly? Like, it's better to look at it and fix it than like la 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 la, I can't see it, I don't know what's going on. I see a lot of brands thankfully starting to pay more attention to what the shopper wants, and I think we see that also through social media. I see a lot of brands that are putting in effort, like what is it that, how can we make your experience better? So I see that a lot. I just don't see it as often from Amazon sellers, unfortunately.
I think that one of the reasons that that is the case is because Amazon's audience is Amazon's audience.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not like sellers on Amazon have a lot of control over.
That's why we removed this. That's why you should use Rankbell.
Exactly. So that makes sense that you would work with outside websites as well, and it would be easier for them to get those insights directly from shoppers. But to use your services for Amazon, I mean, totally makes sense when you think of it that way, because you're getting that shopper's direct insight, from your network. It's really hard to get otherwise with Amazon. Is it self-contained? Ecosystem.
And I would love to offer, if you would accept, I would love to offer your audience an alternative if they, maybe they don't want to use Rankbell, or, maybe they're not in a financial position. What I would do, and I'm actually helping a company that's not yet on Amazon go through this. So this will be, easy for me to kind of reference. But let's say you have a supplement that's a health supplement and you want to create, what do you want to do? You want to create like a unique experience for your customers. So something that, I mean, you can look at obviously your competition and see what they're doing, but you want to consider building like a community around that specific product. But if it's a supplement, it can be like health, wellness, and the benefits or this of this specific product. So let's say, a lot of my friends are taking a lot of nootropics and stuff. Let's say it's a mushroom kind of supplement, right? You identify the target audience. Obviously, you focus on those like individuals that are like very health focused, who are into natural supplements. Like there's a lot of groups that I'm in on Facebook, like Mama's Natural Remedies, or like when my kid was little, I didn't want to like give him like pills and all this, so I was like, oh, this tea does this, or the mushroom does this. So you can, it will take you maybe a day or two, or again, if you have a team, have your VAs kind of look for things like out of the box. I mean, use ChatGPT for God's sake if you need some ideas, but I would start with, where do this kind of people hang out? Oh, well, they hang out in this Facebook group or in this Instagram. But I noticed a lot lately, Vince, and I don't know if you did too, on Facebook gives me a lot of Facebook pages now. So instead of recommending groups, they're recommending pages. So, and that's another thing. You create a page for your product that's all about mushrooms, that the history, and maybe take pictures from different countries. They don't necessarily have to do specifically with your mushroom supplement, but in that vicinity, again, you might want to look into it. But I think the algorithm of Facebook is changing, or it has changed. I didn't notice. But there's a lot of these
changing.
There's all these pages about like traveling and little houses, and depending probably what I'm clicking, also like a lot of real estate and this. So you might want to look into that. But anyway, identify your target audience, create this amazing, valuable content that are not necessarily always like, buy my product, but the health benefits of mushrooms, wellness tips, maybe lifestyle practices. Like, how do you integrate? Like, oh, I take my mushroom supplement and then I go run. I don't know what people do. I mean, we're not talking about magic mushrooms where you
but that's another episode we'll do.
Another episode. But like blog articles, instructional videos, expert interviews. Like, look for books that somebody wrote on mushrooms and track them down and bring them on. Like, you're giving that person like, oh my God, like somebody invited me onto a podcast. Like, you see, I love people. I love like relationships between people. Find that. Like, that would make me be a subscriber, and maybe I'm not going to buy your mushroom supplement yet. Exactly. But if I keep seeing it, and if I keep like hearing about it, and next thing you know, I'm drinking mushroom supplement. Like, how do we go from here to here? So that's what I would do. I think, building a community, it's still very important, and leverage this community for your product development, just like we do at Rankbell, where you take the feedback from the community, to improve your existing supplement or create new supplements. You tailor them to their needs, their preferences, like what flavor do they like, and have fun with it. Have fun with this process. I understand a lot of people, start Amazon because they want to have a financial freedom, which, listen, I love money more than a lot of people that are out there. And you know me, I always say it, but a lot of people love money. They just don't admit it. But I'm just saying, beside that financial relief, do I really want to do this? Like, does this bring me happiness? Does it, you have to have a little bit more than just running after the money. And if you do, then you will have no issue creating that community and having them involved, and then have them order your product from many different locations. And
love it. I love it.
Ending.
So we've given a lot. You have given a lot of great tips on how people can improve, what they're doing, improve their ranking. Now, if they wanted to use your services, how can people get in touch with you?
You're so sweet. Thank you. And, I hope you guys saw that I'm kind of a big jokester. So my little hand moving and all that, but I do appreciate being here with you guys. And it obviously would be an honor to serve you and your community. If anybody wants to reach out, whether it's a question or anything, I'm very friendly. I'm very open. So just email me at Bell, Bell, at rankbell.com, or just go to rankbell.com, or they can just message you, and I'm sure you'll have no problem sending them to me. But this has been such a pleasure, and we always want to help our friends and our community. So anytime you guys want me to come back, it would be my pleasure and honor to
would love that. I would love that. We'll make that happen. So thank you for being my second interview at Trivium Group. Everyone who's watching today got a lot of value. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure that you do. And we will see you soon. Hopefully, I will see you soon. We have lots to talk about, and we are going to potentially do some projects together. So maybe we can come back and talk about that at another time.
I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm sending all of you so much love. And you got this. You got this.
Yes, you guys got this. All right. Thank you.